Thank you, Brian, for doing this. I'm currently building guitars with my two daughters. Thank you for inspiring us. And my question is, have you ever done in the past, or would you ever consider doing a high resolution poster of the Red Special?
Oh, no. It's a good piece of editing. You think that would be good?
Yeah.
Yes, and I've done something like that back in the 80s.
Yeah, that's a nice idea.
Yes.
3D, right?
Of course.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks. I see David Startman there. You got your hand up?
Another question here.
Sorry.
Hi, Brian.
I'll get you promise after this.
Oh, just want to thank you so much for, it's just like having a personal slideshow.
Yeah.
3D. And as long as we're here in Los Angeles and you promoting 3D as much as you are, then if it's okay if I take 1 second to promote that we have a 3D club here in LA. You've mentioned it once. And for those who might be interested in pursuing it more, we meet once a month on the third Thursday of the month in Pasadena. And the website is la3dclub.com. So, thank you, Brian.
Please do. This is David Startman and Susan Pinsky, who are pillars of the stereoscopic community, and I owe them so much. Thank you for being here. Yes.
Hi. I was just wondering how everyone around you their reactions to you kind of taking pictures all the time.
Oh, they get pissed off. You know what they actually don't notice? You know, it's funny, I noticed this with making documentaries. You get a cameraman with this huge rig, and when he first comes into the room, everybody kind of freezes, or else they overreact or they do something. You know, they react in a very untypical way. But half an hour into it, they've forgotten he's there, and they just start doing their normal things. So nobody really noticed that I was taking pictures. No, they didn't care, it's fine. I mean, we all did it. So it was fine, you know, Freddie with his Polaroid, John very often with his SLR. And yeah, no, it wasn't a problem really. It's just part of the way we were. And yeah, we were very close on the road. You know, we didn't have any secrets from each other really on the road. It becomes something very, yeah, I can only say like a family. And I think, you know, you will see, I shouldn't be saying too much about the film, but you will see, I think you will see in the film this idea of a family and what it means and how it relates to how we relate to the world and how it relates to our art. So, no, I don't think anybody cared about me having a stereo camera. It's just part of what happened. And, you know, I'm glad that I had that thing there, and I'm glad that I had this passion. It wasn't intended to be a book ever. It was just I was having fun doing the pictures. But, you know, I'm so glad to have these memories now, because they seem so much more precious now than they did then, which is always the way with memorabilia.
Hi, I have two questions. I'm old enough to remember, I'm over here.
Oh, no.
I'm old enough to remember Viewmaster, and I had a Viewmaster, and why do you think that it didn't really take off as much as perhaps it might have, and do you think there's a chance for 3D to be coming back now more so than before? And the second question is, can you look at some of these pictures and tell how they were taken? Was it sequential or can you tell?
Well, answering that first, yeah, you can always tell. There's a
You
little
can.
clues in there. For the sequential stuff, something will always have moved, you know. Yeah, that's easy, you know. And I mean, we had a lot of restoration to do on these pictures, you know, because they're old film and they're covered in dust and scratches and stuff, you know, which we all removed. And also some of them had to be realigned because the beam splitter is not a very precise instrument. And the pictures overlap and there's all sorts of problems. So yeah, I can always tell where it's come from. First question was
About the Viewmaster?
Yeah, I mean, I neglected to mention Viewmaster, but the Viewmaster is very important, I think, for kind of keeping the flame alive of stereo. And every kid's seen a Viewmaster.
Mm-hmm.
Same as they saw this, you know, the Weetabix viewer, which is Vista Screen. That's an English thing. But we had Viewmaster too, and I loved it, yeah. And, you know, they had moon landings portrayed in 3D in Viewmaster. Somebody, one of my wonderful people I just did interviews with, gave me an example of that set of Viewmaster cards, which is the moon landings.
I haven't seen it.
Apollo. And Yeah, I mean, I love Viewmaster, and I have a lot of those things, you know. And as to whether it will become popular again, I don't know. You know, I didn't tell the story very well. You know, the stereoscopy was invented by Charles Wheatstone. He's sort of making his stereoscopes by the 1840s, which are very elaborate, big affairs with mirrors. What follows is Sir David Brewster makes a more compact version of it, and that becomes incredibly saleable. And it's like pop records. Millions of cars were sold for Brewster viewers from about 1850 to 1860. It was a massive craze, and people saw the world through their stereoscopes. They saw the Sphinx, they saw tea planting in India, they saw rice planting in China, you know, they saw their favorite celebrities, and all sorts of scenes of, you know, that tell a story, tableaus. And stereoscopy for that brief period, 1850 to 1860, was like the movies and TV and the internet all rolled into one. It was the way Victorians saw the world. By 1860, it's gone. It was succeeded by other things, which in my mind were not as good, like carte de visite. And you don't really get any stereo of any significance happening for many, many years, till about 1900, when again it becomes huge. Keystone views are everywhere. They're used in schools and to show children how, you know, rice planting or whatever, all around the world. And then by about, this is 1900, by 1915 or 20, it's gone again. And nobody cares, nobody even knows what stereo is, until about 1950, you know, when stereo movies become the rage, and everybody has red and green glasses, or else they have these cross-polaroid things to do the color movies. And in the 50s, it's the rage, and that's when the stereo realist was born as well. By 1960, it's kind of gone, and you get a brief flash of movies in 3D in the 1980s, which were all awful, because they're overdoing it and putting everything in your face, and we try not to think about that. You know, and then again, it kind of dies until James Cameron does Avatar. And then suddenly it's wonderful, and it's cool because he does it right. He understands his medium, he creates all his own hardware to do it. And I think Avatar is just the most brilliant use of stereoscopic medium. You know, but I forgot where this was going. What I'm saying to you is, I haven't. What I'm saying, I don't think there's any way to know where it's going to go, because we just had this big boom of 3D pictures, but already almost nobody is shooting in 3D in movies. The Disney people will tell you this. You know, they're shooting in mono, and they're doing conversions for the whole thing because it's cheaper and it's easier and it saves on all sorts of things. So you're not really seeing proper 3D in the movies anymore. And I think the other thing, of course, which is going on is the great grandson of stereoscopy, which is virtual reality. Virtual reality is really just a stereoscope with this extra trick of the 360 thing, so the image stays still as you move your head. But it's stereoscopy, you know, and it's doing very well, but I sense that it may be peaking. I don't know if that's the case. But, you know, people were very, very keen to do everything in virtual reality. But actually, if you ask people to sit in a room for 2 hours and watch a full-length movie with this thing strapped to their face, not knowing which direction to look in, it doesn't actually work that well. And I know Steven Spielberg's been quoted as saying it ain't going to work, you know, as mainstream theatre. It works in some ways. It's wonderful for surgeons doing operations at a distance. What an amazing thing. You know, there's going to be great uses for it. But whether it's continuing to grow in the public sphere, I don't know. I think maybe not. So who knows where the next boom of stereoscopy will be. There is this, I forget who's doing it now. Is it Google? No, it's not Google. Somebody is doing glasses, like regular reading glasses, which have these images built in. Now that's a lot different. Who is it doing that? Microsoft. Oh, yeah, okay. What is it called? I can't remember what it's called. It's a system. Sorry? HoloLens. That's right. Yeah. No, I haven't seen it. I haven't tried it. But that seems to me that would be a much more comfortable way for people to view 3D. Now there's a great boom in TVs. Everybody had a 3D ready TV, right? But where is the 3D in TV? It's gone. Everybody got fed up with it because they didn't want to sit in one spot the whole time, and you know, they wanted to be doing the cooking and whatever else they do and have the TV on in the corner. So that didn't work as a concept. So I don't know. I really don't know. How fascinating is that? You know,
Yeah.
we don't know what's going on. But I think Victorian stereoscopy, like you just saw, Well, no, actually, you saw a simulation. You saw it projected. You know, in the book, it's the Victorian stereoscopy, and I think that is still as valid as it ever was. You can sit in your room privately and enjoy this stuff at your leisure, and you can spend ages, as the Victorians did, just looking at one picture and seeing all the different angles and what's going on. I love it. I find it eternally fascinating. One more question, I guess I have some more signing to do tonight. I did 3.5 hours signing last night. That feels like,
We love you, Brian.
Up here in the nosebleeds, Brian.
yeah,
If you can squint, you can see me waving my hands. Your buddy Jeff
I
Scott
can
Soto.
see you. I can see you.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Jeff Scott Soto.
My God. Hey, Jeff.
How are you? We've discussed this before, but we've never actually gotten to the answer. I can't imagine a better appropriate place to do this. You post stereo photos on your website often, and I've asked you, how do you get the effect of making it 3D without glasses, without some kind of device? You said there's a process with how to adjust the eyes if you stare at them a certain way, and I've asked you to explain this to me, but we've never actually gotten down to it.
Yeah, it's called free viewing, and a lot of people here I know can do this. Yeah, it's something you can quite easily train your eyes to do. It's a matter of relaxing your convergence. So, you know, when you're looking at something close, your eyes are pointing in, the axes are pointing in like this so that you can accommodate. You know, if I'm looking at someone right here. If I'm looking to infinity, the axes have opened up and they're parallel. So what you need to do is kind of dissociate this divergence function from the focus function. So basically you're looking kind of through this pair of images and they will float together. It doesn't take very long to figure out. You just need to practice really. So you have your stereo pair here, like in the book, but you allow your eyes to relax as if they were looking to infinity, and you will see these pictures coalescing together. And just with a little patience, you can adjust your focus without adjusting the divergence. It just happens instinctively. And suddenly, you're seeing 3 pictures instead of 2 because they've moved across each other. But the central one will be your 3-dimensional image.
There's an easy trick to teach you to do it.
It's a trick.
Yeah, where
It's really
if
easy.
you put your finger in
Yeah,
front
you
of
can
the
do it with your
pictures
finger.
and
Yeah,
take
that's
it to your
another
eye,
way.
then
Yeah.
that's how I taught myself.
But it's nice, and I do it all the time. I do it instinctively. But it's not. I would say, it's not the ultimate stereoscopic experience. The immersive stereo is when you have your proper viewer, and you have your proper focus, and the geometry is right. You want to kind of match the geometry in your stereo viewer to the way it would be in real life. So yeah, I mean, there's a few people here who can teach you free viewing quite easily. It only takes a few minutes to do it, and then you gradually get the hang of it, and then you can't stop doing it. Every time you see 2 things like this, you go, and like I said, wallpaper, these 10 wallpapers. So that's it. I think we have to quit, don't we? Be happy to sign books and whatever. Please do visit the exhibition just over the way, because it's wonderful stuff there. And thank you a million times. You can visit.